big source is telling Adrian Wojnarowski the Clippers are trading Mike Muscala, who they just got, to the Lakers for Michael Beasley and Zubac, who's had such a nice little run for them lately. Brian, I'm a little surprised at that. Tell us what's going on here.
Well, what's going on here is Michael Beasley just had it out with Luke Walton, and Michael Beasley is getting shipped out to take on his money. The Clippers are attaching Ivica Zubac to make that deal happen. But this is an important deal for the Lakers, and not just for harmony in the locker room. They opened up a roster spot with this deal. The Lakers,
who could possibly fill that roster spot?
Well, Carmelo Anthony is what people are going to jump to, but whether it's Carmelo Anthony or not, the buyout market I am expecting to be robust over the next week to 10 days. The Lakers had 15 contracts. Now they have 14. Now they can get involved in this. And by the way, Muscala is a shooter. He is an effective shooter. Anytime the Lakers make a deal to add shooting, I don't understand why they weren't making these types of...
that in July, but
I don't understand why they weren't making these deals in July, but in the last 3 days, they've now added 2 shooters. And I applaud that, and it's a step forward for the Lakers, and also an indication that they've moved beyond Anthony Davis.
Yeah, that was my thing about the Lakers. Like, they were so gung-ho on trying to get Anthony Davis. Like, make some of these other little small moves to improve your team, like the Milwaukee Bucks did with Mirotic. I mean, that's a really big move for them, and I felt like the Lakers could have done the same thing.
Man, I mean, look, where the Lakers and Clippers go from here is so interesting. You heard Brian just say, hey, Doc Rivers says this morning, we're not tanking. Scottie, what do you think the Clippers should do here? Because on the one hand, yeah, it's great for them to get in the playoffs, and maybe they get the 8th spot and they play Golden State, or maybe they get the 7th spot and they can make a little climb there. If they don't make the playoffs, they keep their pick. If they make the playoffs, that pick has to go to Boston. If you're the Clippers, would you be trying to make the playoffs? Would you be not trying to make the playoffs?
Well, I mean, from a player standpoint, you always want to try to make the playoffs. But from an organization standpoint, from a business standpoint, it doesn't make sense for them. If they want to better position themselves, they should use that first-round pick and do whatever they got to do to get that first-round pick. And
keep it.
I think that would continue to make them get better, but also they're going to be ready for the free agent market as well. So I think they should tank a little bit.
The trick is,
don't use that word.
The trick is to make it look like you're going for it, but then also slide back.
By the way, here's my latest chess conspiracy theory. If the Clippers don't try so hard to make the playoffs, they keep their pick. They're not just keeping it, they're keeping it from Boston, which means Boston has at least one less asset, right, to make that Anthony Davis trade. If they don't make the Anthony Davis trade, the feeling now is that Kyrie Irving has become untethered. I keep hearing he's become untethered from his promise to stay with the Celtics. So it could have a domino that affects the Knicks. It could have a domino that affects the Clippers, who also would like to be in the mix for 2 Supermax agents.
Oh, you've been waiting on this.
Carmelo Anthony. He has not played since November 8th. He is now on the buyout market. He was waiting for that 3 o'clock Eastern to hit as much as anyone in this league, because now he has sort of, everybody knows where they are. This buyout market is officially started. One window closes, people, another one opens. We are now officially in buyout season. There you go, it's already happened. So I want to know, Tom, you are a talent evaluator, both as a coach and a team president. Can Carmelo Anthony currently help a team out there?
Yeah, this is a good opportunity for Melo because right now the buyout market is next. So he could pick his situation. And I think having a player like that, maybe to come off the bench for your playoff run, Melo can score. He's always been able to score. He'll always be able to score. And how he fits into your system is the critical thing. He's a terrific guy. Obviously, he's not the player that he was 5 years ago, but he can still score the ball.
So why didn't it work in Oklahoma City, and why didn't it work in Houston? Even in Houston, where before they even went into the season, there was the agreement that he wasn't going to start. Why do you think those teams it didn't fit, but you still think it could fit with someone else? I
do. I think he's talented enough, and I think he understands where he is. The Houston situation, I thought, he took on a lot there. And I think after he was gone, it didn't change.
Right.
So in fairness to him, maybe, it would have worked had it gone longer. But this is a guy, he's been a prolific scorer in the league for such a long time. Defensively, he's not the same, but he's got a lot of toughness, and he knows how to score.
What do you think?
I told you on this show who I think should pick him up. Portland Trailblazers.
Portland.
He could be their 3rd scorer, playing with those 2 phenomenal guards, the big man who's a great passer, I mean, Melo could play inside. He doesn't have to change his style of play.
Right.
And that's why I think it didn't work out in OKC and it didn't work out in Houston, because Melo is a mid-range type player, mid-post, who he needs the ball. Playing with Dame and CJ, I mean, being that third option for them, I think is a perfect fit.
Right. And look, I will say this about Carmelo Anthony. In the last 3 locker rooms he has been in, I have heard nothing but the other players in those rooms saying how much they like playing with him. Paul George has said it publicly. Russell Westbrook has said it publicly. James Harden, Chris Paul have all said it publicly. The Knicks players, even with all the drama there, they kept talking about how much they loved him. This is not a disruptive guy who's going to come mess up your chemistry. I do think that he could be a really good fit in Portland. The Lakers, of course, has been the rumor, right? LeBron's there, and he said in front of the media, he's my guy. Of course I don't want him to end his career that way. I've thought about him playing with us. How seriously will the Lakers consider Carmelo?
So he's definitely somebody they're considering, but the Lakers are like all the rest of the teams that consider themselves, well, I don't know if you can call the Lakers contenders at this stage when they're not even in the playoffs, but they still think of themselves in that way. And so they're going to look at everyone on the buyout market. I think they still need shooting, and from what I'm told, they have a preference to get someone who has been playing. As you mentioned, he hasn't played since November 8th.
Right.
He's not exactly game ready right now.
Right.
And so somebody who gets bought out is somebody who's been playing up until a couple days ago.
Matthews.
Yeah, although I don't know if that's the guy. I think Wayne Ellington's the guy that you should watch. And you know, I think Melo is an option, but it's going to take shape over how the buyout market works out.
So interesting. You heard Brian Windhorst earlier on the show say he expects the buyout market to be robust. I would also say, though, there are a lot of teams looking for that. We saw a bunch of teams clearing a roster spot today. That is because, again, one window closes, the other one opens.